All right, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you all for attending. 9 a.m., tough time slot, so let's have a bit of fun. Making data dance, I was debating whether to actually dance, but that would be terribly embarrassing, so I'll just let the data do it for me. So I'm Brent Mowdy. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at Turner Fleischer Architects. 2 years makes me sound so young. I actually have 2 decades of experience, but 2 years here at TF. We are 243 people, 47 years experience, 2 offices within Canada, and we do a multitude of projects. And this is one of the first things, BIM, the myth of BIM, that it's only a certain type or topology. I loved the dialogue yesterday that BIM is a process spanning multiple types of sectors. We service various sectors from wayfinding, interior, straight to high-rise residential, urban planning, site development, industrial, commercial, you name it. For me, it's all BIM. It's all about data. It's all about assembling something and doing something with that information. One of the takeaways yesterday was making data into info. So what is all the data? We have a multitude of stuff, and I want to step outside of the realm of the project. So we have a studio. We're an office. We're a practice. We generate data. If I'm aiming towards the world of a digital twin, I can't just be in that BIM data. I need to extract all that data. So the studio, that video is just showing a laser scan, Revit model, actual studio. We use our studio as a prototype for things. And obviously, I want it to be my first active and functional digital twin. We have people, expertise, project managers, history of knowledge and wealth of experience. All of that is data. All of that's going to feed eventually where we go. And then, of course, projects, or BIM, arc, struck, mechanical, electrical, interiors, plumbing, civil infrastructure, utilities, water piping, etc. It doesn't matter. Roads, bridges, that's all BIM. Those are all the assets that we do at the project level that we design, we coordinate with construction, and then we, as architects, certify for completion, and they get realized and used by the society. All of this is data. So I said, great, what do I do with that data? How do I tap into that data and actually start to use it so it can all fuse together in what would be a digital twin? So, for me, I'm a Power BI fanatic. And the stuff I can do with Power BI is make your data dance. So we can do stuff with it. This is just a drill down donut chart. There's so many examples of how data can actually move and be sliced and diced and experienced, taking what is otherwise just points of data in a SQL database and making it something I can interact with and experience. That's what I want to do with data. And I want to do that with the multitude of the types of data that we have. So I looked at Turner Fleischer, 2 years in there, saying, what do we have? What do we actually do organizationally, individually, and then for the projects? And I'm going to do the projects last, because often we jump into the world of, I have BIM, I have models. How do I get those models out and do stuff with that data? That's important. What about everything else? And what is that everything else? So here I am, a practicing architect, professor at a couple of colleges. I come into a firm and I say, what do we do? Well, the first thing we do, let's talk about a work breakdown structure. How do we actually work? What is it that we do across our various sectors? So with all of these examples that are following, these are all just various ways I took a data source, federated it, and made it available for all to consume using Power BI as my engine. I don't work for Microsoft, but I love Power BI. So here, different types of projects, different work breakdown structure. We have 4 levels. How do we slice and dice what we do? So what does that mean? A laser scan. Awesome. You don't just go and scan. You plan it, you coordinate it, you scan it, you process it, you model it, and you deliver it. Those are 6 fundamental tasks that make a successful laser scan. And laser scan is just one small little BIM use of existing conditions of an overall project. So we go to that depth of everything we do. All those listed there are the various types of work, interiors, wayfinding, etc. What do we do in the various phases of the project and the various tasks for all those phases? So this is just to convey the understanding of how we function. Now, how did we function? So project financials. I have a couple ex-students in conference, though I've got to say it, scope, schedule, budget, right? This is my budget. How, as a project manager, can I be accountable for the work that we're doing to make my pathway towards a digital twin if I don't know if we're doing it well? So take that WBS, connect to the financial system, and federate that data so I can slice it, dice it, visualize it, and connect it to who knows what. And I wanted to open up that potential. So this is just my dashboard filtered by me. I can see my projects for specific clients, specific different PMs, etc. So I can drill down and understand how I'm functioning in the moment and my historical performance. Why does that benefit me? Well, if we go back to my 3D model making, what did we promise? How did we deliver it? Did we deliver that value of design review? Did we do it within our budget, within our scope? This gives me that data to understand it. So that gets me how we work, how we performed. Now as CTO, I like to spend money. And I realize I always go to the CFO saying, can we buy this? Can we buy this? There's a lot of buying that happens in order to enter this realm of digitization. So the amount of invoices and purchases, I wanted to understand what we were doing. What are the trends and how can I push us forward? So this is a log, 2+ years of purchase orders, supports, Microsoft 365 subscriptions, computer hardware purchases. It's all there. It's all at my fingertips, and I'm able to understand how we function. What does it cost for us to be in the digital realm? How does that impact how we function as a practice, how we price our projects? How we have to engage our clients, how we have to engage our consultants. When a consultant says, I'm not doing any BIM, I'm good in the old 2D world. Well, I want to tell that consultant, no, you are going to do BIM. This might be the software cost. This might be the cost of engagement. Weave that into the price, and let's just make it happen for betterment of society. So we can't use that as the barrier, because I still hear that. I don't want to do BIM, and I don't get it. But that's okay. Technology is great if we apply it. This dashboard tells me how well we're using our specific skills. This is 3D printing, laser cutting. So the whole concept of model fabrication. What do we have planned? What are we doing? Guess what? Model fabrication is great. We've got 3 machines, but when they're running, well, we can't do anything else. They're running. Sometimes a 3D print takes 3, 4, 5 days. So understanding what we're doing. Comp design. There's a whole aspect of research of scripting and application on projects. What's the balance of both? Where are we actually leveraging the technology and the speed towards a solution in the front end of design? Visualizing. Enscape, Lumion, Twinmotion, Unreal, Unity, all awesome. Where? How? What are we doing? Who are the players? What are the projects? What's the effectiveness? How does that link back to the financial performance? How does that all come together? So I have all that data at my fingertips. And then lastly, quick here, the laser scanning. All those gauges are all the different facets of the laser scan to convey to the firm that it's not just you walk in there, you plop the scanner, it scans around, and yay, we're finished. So much more than the 10-minute scan. Then we have individuals. So there were so many more I could show practice-wide, but they said I only have 20 minutes, and I've used almost half. Individual data. So we said everybody's in this wonderful application of Revit. We're going to analyze how we're using it. So we take those journal stats, we federate the stats, pull it into a SQL database, analyze the data, collect it over the course of, I think we're up to 3 years now. We have over 10 million rows of data. I look at a 6-month sliding window and I see what we're doing. How are we using our add-ins? The things that I've purchased in the previous slide, are we effectively using them? If we are, great, what's the value? If we're not, why? Do we need training? Do we need something? How do we actually understand? Why do I have Revit warnings? Who has the most Revit warnings? When are they fixed? Who's using which commands and why? And who's not using them? All that data is at my fingertips. And I can look at it every single day and get an understanding of how we're performing and utilizing the automations that I believe are bringing value to us as an architectural practice. Individual software consumption. Again, I make those purchases, right? BIM 360, awesome, kind of expensive, right? So you want to make sure it's being used right. Who has it assigned? Who doesn't? We're going to start a project. We're all going to be in the cloud. Great. Oh, you want 40 people in the studio? Well, I don't have 40 seats. Let's plan this. Let's schedule it. Who's using it, who's not? How many seats have I given out to subs, to external clients? How do I just keep a handle on all of that? That's how. I get the data, I visualize the data, I pull it up in seconds, and I make an informed decision. Again, then network, same concept, network licenses. How are we using? How are we balancing? How are we engaging? If we aren't near the peak, I get worried. If we surpass the peak, I get very much more worried. So we need that happy balance right in the middle. That's going to go away as everybody's going single seat. Support. Support is huge. We want to do all this stuff. We want to do it phenomenally. We want to make digital twins. We want to engage with our data. And then we go up to somebody and they say, my Revit crashed. How often does that happen? What do we do about it? If Revit is crashing every single day, my colleagues, we got to fix that. We want to make sure that these tools work, the people are engaged. These ticket numbers, I would love if that number was 0 for a week. It could happen. I was going to say never going to happen. You never know. So we track that. We make sure we're supported so that everybody's empowered to move forward. And now the project stuff. The whole BIM process. Life cycle data, all those BIM uses, the BIM execution plan. What are you BIMing? Why are you BIMing it? I've been saying that for over a decade. Answer those 2 simple questions. If you don't know what you're BIMing, why are you BIMing it? Just stop. Document it in your BXP. Then you hear, I don't want to do a BXP. That's a massive Word document. And I say, you know what? I agree. The BXP Word document is terrible. So let's make an app for that. Turner Fleischer, where I'm lucky enough to have an awesome team, including a software developer, right? Totally not from our industry. I sat him down and I said, let's make a BXP. He said, okay. What the heck is a BXP? We explained it. He said, let's just make a couple of forms, like a Google form. What's the important data? So imagine that 30-page Word document. I got to scroll through there, fill out information. Some of the information is repetitive. So we grab the data from the financial system. So I don't have to enter project name, project number, PM, all that stuff. We know all that. I want to enter, what are my BIM goals? What are my BIM uses? Am I going to put asset management? And if I do I understand that instigates a process? And what am I going to do about that? My LOD matrix. Oh my God, it's so complicated. Why would an LOD matrix be complicated? Who's modeling what? 50 years ago, my dad's an architect. Who's drawing what? Everybody asks that question. Answer it with modeling. Software. One of the most important, I'm so tired of, oh man, we had said Revit 2022 and now somebody's using 2023. Why? Just say who's using what and you're done. And it's there, and it's documented. And if you can't answer that question, stop. That's what I say. So, well, let this one fill out, because for me, this is huge. This was a massive accomplishment last year. We got everything together, and once we were able to do it, there's my Word document. Exactly formatted. I deliver that. Nobody would have any clue this came from an online app. It's the BIM execution plan. But it was fun. And why is it fun? Because now, you knew it was going here. Now I get this. I have a Power BI dashboard of every single data point that's entered into the BXP. So who's doing what? What are your BIM goals? Who added a weird BIM goal? Who deleted the most common BIM goal if we want a coordinated model? That's an alarm for me. You don't want that? You got to have that. So here we are now. Who has an odd software? Who put Revit 2012? That's a big risk. Because we can't do that. How are we sharing? What's the collaboration tools? Who are our contacts? They're all there. You fill them out, right? I can see. Do we have common contacts? Consultants? Different firms? Common firms? What are the schedules? When does my team have to get involved and help to automate review and coordination? When's a project going into DD? I want to know that. Who is crazy enough to put 5mm accuracy? I want to know that. What are they planning to do in that model? This is all the data I have at my fingertips. And now, after a year, we have 100+ projects in here. I have 100+ projects of data that I can interrogate, plan, and see how to leverage and enhance the quality of the model. Quality of the model. Revit health checks. We call it model stats internally. It's a project dashboard. Every project manager goes in here. I like to say weekly. I know that's a little optimistic, but they go in here, they look at their scores. If their scores are low, they engage with their teams to enhance their models. We scan against our Turner-Fleischer standards. So one office template, one set of standards. Do you have odd families, odd view names, an extensive amount of warnings? We look for these sorts of things, scan the models every day, jam the data into a SQL database, maintain that history and that legacy, and we see how models have improved or lessened over time. And then we act accordingly. Why would we do this? We're all culminating towards, I want to leverage the data for something greater. And that's our Studio Digital Twin. So when I started 2.5 years ago, I said, this is an awesome place. You've got a really, really awesome BIM of the office. I want to take that and use it to start to function, to start to make informed decisions. So what do we have? What is a digital twin? Well, all this stuff has to come together. So why I show this presentation is because these are all of the pieces that will impact me as I start to assemble how we make a digital twin. It's not just the BIM. It's not just an individual, it's all of it together. And what do we want to do? We want to start to understand performance. So we have placed sensors all across our studio. We're analyzing temperature, humidity, pressure, and this is an old video because we just added ambient light, sound, and VOC count. So we're starting to analyze this across the history of the days, and we'll engage our facility managers and say, hey, it's kind of cold in one room, not in another room. We work hybrid. I can be from home. I can analyze these readings and connect with our studio experience team and let them know, saying, hey, our lab is very cold. Our lunchroom is very hot. The pressure is dry. What's going on? Let's fix this. And we're enacting decisions based on data. What do I want to do with this, though? This is great. But where is this? Where's my BIM connectivity? That's what the level of experimentation I'm at right now. So this is VCAD. Kind of cool. I've been experimenting with Proving Ground. We're going to connect with Tandem, Assemble, iTwin. Notice I'm not listing the vendor names. I don't care. This is vendor agnostic. I want to take my data that's completely pulled out. I want to jam the model into Power BI. That's my challenge right now. VCAD is pretty, so I show this one because it's pretty smooth and I'm able to slice and dice the data. If you've ever taken Revit and said file, export, ODBC and jam it into a SQL database, kind of scary. I can't believe what the amount of data tables that come out of Revit. So these outfits have started to build a wrapper around all that data, meaning I don't have to dissect that data the way I have our financial system. But this is what I want to do. I want to click on an item, connect to my IoT sensor, see how it's performing, and start to build those heat maps and connectivity of what's happening. I want to hit one of these items, connect to our people database, understand where we're sitting, what are we using, how often do we use our spaces, all that data. I want to be informed by the information so that we could function, we could adequately adapt our studio based on the information we have, fulfilling an option of a digital twin. And the digital twin itself is defined by the owners. We're the owners of our space. If I can do this, who knows what the possibilities are. I can bring in our clients, sit them down, let them understand, here's what you could do if you took our project data and you took all of your data in your environment, bring it all together like we're doing for our studio and build an experience, build something that's specifically catered for these specific individuals scattered across the globe. And that's my 20 minutes on the dot. Thank you, everyone.
Brent, you did not disappoint.